It is that coveted time for Ron the Car Guy from Westside Auto Pros to talk a little bit about your vehicle. And you have something pretty special to talk about today because everybody can relate.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody that obviously drives a car or rides in a car, we're going to talk about pothole season.
All right.
Because it's here. It's in full swing. I've seen the city crews out, on the nice days, patching them up and stuff, and the cause of the potholes that we have out there are, as we roll into this time of year, we get the freeze and thaw.
Expansion and contraction,
exactly,
back and forth.
Exactly, gets in the cracks of the streets, and then it freezes, and then before we know it, it thaws out, and the streets break up, and then we're littered with potholes.
Unlike most substances, when water freezes, it gets larger.
It does.
Molecules get larger, and that's what forces them open. That's what makes cracks.
Yep.
But is that why a lot of us drive the same route every single morning, and there can be a time you're driving the route you've driven a million times, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 and it's like, where did that come from?
Sure,
it's literally something that can happen in a matter of days.
Yeah, Jackie doesn't like to get out of the groove. She stays in that groove.
I do.
Good traction, and good qualifying time.
Because
gets up at the same time in the morning.
3 in the morning. I'm just let it guide me.
But yeah, that's what happens is it breaks and cracks the street, the concrete, the asphalt, whatever, and then with all those cars running over it, that broken piece breaks up more, and eventually it comes out of the street, and then we have a hole in there.
Oh, that's not good.
And then that happens.
Yeah, that happens. I put a couple. This is a car that we actually towed in to Westside Auto Pros, and it was about 50 feet past the pothole that it hit.
What are we looking at here specifically?
That is the lower part of the suspension, and the two arrows indicate two pieces of what they call the lower control arm. That are not supposed to be broken apart. That
should be one piece.
It should be one piece,
yeah.
and that's actually what holds the bottom of the tire in together, up against the car. So the bottom of the tire kind of pulled out and
Pointing
separated.
in the right direction.
Exactly.
Oh, I did this.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And we're seeing
pothole can do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you catch like the edge of that wheel on a pothole, it'll break a piece out. And the other thing that's interesting is we're seeing more and more wheel damage like this than we did years ago, because cars have, they've got composite wheels on it, wheels made out of aluminum. They're not
as sturdy as they used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
They're brittle rather than pliable.
Your parts on your car are not as forgiving as they used to be, and we're back to, we had talked a couple shows ago about how the car manufacturers are putting cars on diets, and they're trying to get up the corporate average fuel economy. And this is what we're seeing. This is how they're doing it. Is they're using lighter weight composite materials. They're making things thinner.
Easier.
And they're definitely not as forgiving.
Yeah, the hole that we hit over on University by where the lottery sign is in that general area, it broke the wheel and destroyed the strut.
Wow.
Yeah, it did a lot of damage.
So how fast do we have to be traveling in order for damage like this to occur?
These cars, we're bringing them in off city streets. We're not bringing them in off the interstate.
Right.
30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just how the impact hits, how the wheel falls into the hole, and it breaks stuff.
So this is kind of a silly question, but if we see a pothole and there's not a whole lot we can do about it, obviously avoiding it is the best situation. But if we have to hit a pothole, is there a certain way to try and aim towards it?
Avoiding it's the best situation.
Now, there is a car manufacturer who has addressed this. I'm not sure if you've seen the reports on this, and they have pothole detection. With the front of their wheels, that's going to be able to detect if a pothole is right in front of your wheel. It doesn't allow it to drop down.
Exactly. It holds the wheel up as you go over the pothole, and they're doing that with it's kind of a cool technology. It's called magnetic ride control, and basically they magnetize the fluid in the shock or strut, and it keeps it solid, so it holds it up as it goes over.
Really, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And there's apps out there you can download on your phone. There's pothole apps, and what they'll do is they'll alert you if you're coming up on a pothole, and typically it works best in a situation like you, Jackie, where you drive the same lane, the same route, and it senses vibration, And so you might hit a pothole today and escape damage, and then tomorrow it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're on your way to work, and you're not thinking about the potholes, and as you get close to where that was, your phone will alert you again.
It will?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah,
So there's a pothole app I think the Register had a couple years ago where you tell them where the potholes
like
are.
there's a
and they let the city know, and that's the other thing. Just because there's a pothole on your way to work, and you avoid it and you know it's there, take a couple of minutes and call the city and let them know. The city of Des Moines kind of has a pothole hotline. It's 283-4950, and you can call and report it. Because it's kind of like if the power goes out at your house and it's out at all your neighbor's house, you might sit there a couple hours and assume somebody else called it in, and they're doing the same thing. And so the Mid-America doesn't know that the power's out. Well, in this particular case, if the city will fix it. I mean, they get reports of over 1,000 potholes a year, just the city of Des Moines, not counting the suburbs.
Wow.
And they fix over 50 potholes a day, but it's complaint driven. They rely on people to tell them, where they are. They can't drive every street, looking for them. So you'll make sure you let somebody know, and they'll happily come out and fix them.
So let's say you hit a pothole, as those photos showed us a few minutes earlier. What do we do?
You call Ron.
Is it well, I was going to say.
Yeah, you got to call me. What else would you do?
Obviously.
I know this because I had to do this last year about the same time. Our daughter drove into a pothole in Des Moines, and I called Ron. So
Did
that
you?
was,
Well, there you go. Obviously, we always say keep that number in your phone in case you need it for emergency situations. But should you continue to drive and get to work?
Well,
do you stop and call West Side Motors? What do you do?
I mean, if it's a big hit, almost like a teeth jarring hit, I'd probably pull over and get out and look. But you can tell if your car's, obviously those pictures that we saw, those cars no longer drove.
Extreme. So if the air's out of the tire, the wheel is broke, and
the steering wheel's pointed forward, and the tire's this way. You're probably not going to go.
Not a good thing.
But you bring up a good point, Jackie. Let's say, we're all going to hit potholes.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. As we roll through the season and they get a lot of them patched up and repaired and stuff, it's a really good idea towards the end of pothole season to take your car in and have the alignment checked. Because you can't always tell. I mean, we're talking, less than a millimeter of adjustments on some of these cars. And you can't normally tell if your car is just a little bit out of alignment, and yet it is just scrubbing off and wearing that tire down. Tires are expensive, so it's less expensive to just take your car in, have the alignment check, just to make sure that because of the potholes that we will hit, it hasn't caused the alignment angles to shift and is ruining your tires.
Right, and one of the easy ways to tell whether or not it's out of a line, if you're going in a straight area and there's nobody around you, if you let the wheel go just for a second, and if it pulls off to one side, if it has a tendency to drift one way or another, that might be an indication.
Or if you're going straight down the road and the steering wheel's like this, there's a problem. Yeah.
Oh,
the key word is there, let go for a second. Don't try this at home.
No, but I'm serious. That's what you do. That's what the car guys do.
It should go down the road straight. Absolutely.
All right. All great advice. So people need to get some phone numbers in their phone this morning if they're getting ready to head out the door. So let us know how we can get in touch with you.
Our shop number's up there on the screen. It's 225-9090. If you do hit a pothole, after hours, the middle of the night, the tire needs to be changed or it needs to be towed. 309-1911. And then also to let, if you're in the city of Des Moines, to let them know where there's a pothole, 283-4950.
Perfect.
Oh, hey, look, we can even submit it online.
There you go.
Make it even easier.
Yep, DesMoinesGov.org.
Westside Auto Pros is also AAA. So
we are.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's how we actually got.
Yep. Call AAA and you'll see us.
Got a hold of you. So
absolutely.
That was how it worked.
Perfect.
All right, Ron, the car guy. Perfect. Great job as always.
Thank you.
Great advice.
Thank you.
Perfect.